Yeah, hi, my name's Ron Petrinovich, and I want to talk to you today about what we do here for our clients. When we take a look at a family, we have to consider what's going to happen to my financial future. Will I live a long, long time into my 80s, 90s? And the answer is I hope so. Or will I get sick along the way, something bad like a cancer? Or will I die too soon and leave my family alone? So what I want to talk to you about is how to solve all three needs: life insurance in case you die too soon, living benefits in case you get sick, we send money, and retirement savings with using a life insurance policy, which is the most efficient retirement plan on the planet. So let's take a look and talk about what happens if you die too soon, something that nobody wants this to happen. You need to think about this. If you're gone and your paycheck's gone, how's your family going to survive? Would you want your mortgage paid off or any other debts? Would your family still need a reliable monthly income even if that stuff was paid off? And life insurance, when it pays, for most people, personally owned, the benefits are income tax free. And life insurance comes three ways. So there's different products for different budgets. You can rent your insurance. That's called term insurance. Term means it terminates at some point. 20, 30-year term, and when it's done, it's done. It's good in the short run, it's cheap, but in the long run, it's the most expensive way you can go. Or you can have something called a GUL, a permanent policy where you own it. Or you can get something called an indexed universal life. It's a permanent policy and covers all three: in case you die, in case you get sick, but most importantly, in case you live a long, long time, which is going to happen to most people. Now let's take a look at get sick. Every year, and I never knew this until I was in this business, over 6 million people in America are going to have a heart attack, stroke, or cancer. The average age of a critical illness claim is age 43. Now, so 6 million, and every year, 70% of the people that get sick like this, they live, they don't die. But more than half of them go bankrupt. So what happens? If you get sick and can't go to work, got to think about this: how are you going to pay your bills? Because the life insurance doesn't pay off till you're dead, and you're not dead, and the health insurance pays the hospital and the doctor, but how are you going to pay your bills if you can't go to work for 6 months or 12 months? Living benefits, good news for you, come with all kinds of our insurance: term, GUL, and IUL. And the type of policy we want to tell you about, the new modern kind, has a critical illness rider, and almost all our claims, there's been hundreds of them, are critical illness. Most of them, by the way, cancer. So if you have a policy and get cancer, you put in a claim, and depending on how severe it is, company's going to send you a check to help you get through those rough times. The second rider is a chronic illness rider. And we need to all know that 90% of America does not own long-term care insurance. Why? It's super expensive, and if you don't use it, you lose it. So we have a solution for that. How about a no-cost chronic illness rider? By the way, the critical is a no-cost critical. And third is a terminal illness rider, where if you go to the doctor and he says you're going to go in the next 24 months, they send a huge portion of the death benefit. So this is really a revolution with life insurance. And here's what's unique. For the first time ever, you can be your own beneficiary. I mean, you know, if you die, somebody else gets the money. But if you get sick or if you live a long time, you get the money. Totally new kind, revolutionary kind. And living benefits can be used for anything. You can pay off your home, send your kids to college, or keep sending your kids to college. Bucket list, pay for the best treatment. We've had so many clients, including the one right here, that have gotten these checks. I mean, this is Dr. John, a friend of ours, bought a policy. 3 weeks later, he's got stage 4 throat cancer. And now he had health insurance, plenty of money, got a check for $735,000. And he didn't have to stress out over losing his home and all that kind of stuff. He had plenty of money for his copay on his health insurance, which is over $100,000, and today he's back to work and he's cancer-free. In my opinion, living benefits helped this guy live because he didn't have to get all stressed out. And another thing you need to know, the average cost of cancer is $15,000 to $20,000 a month. So we provide the money so that it saves lives is the bottom line. Now let's talk about scenario number 3, which is the most likely thing to happen. Most people do live into the retirement. And most people in America, because they don't understand all their options, put money in IRAs, 401ks, and they don't realize how they work. So let's talk about this. When you take the money out, it's fully taxable. Most of the time the money is in the stock market, which means it's at risk, and the fees on these products are not high, they're extremely high. When your money is at risk, if the market goes down, it can delay or destroy your retirement. And so I want to ask you a question. What if there was a retirement plan where the money came out tax-free? Because you got a choice. You're retired, tax-free or taxable check. Which one would you rather have? So we're going to teach you how to eliminate the risk, increase your tax efficiency, and reduce your fees big time. So I want to talk to you about indexed universal life and indexed annuities. So here we have the 4 steps of insurance and retirement planning. So let's go to phase 1 in the 401k. You save money, you put money in, the CPA goes, good job, Ron. You got a tax deduction. So it's good this year. Money grows, tax deferred, all is good until you retire. And when you retire, the money comes out, you pay taxes at a future tax rate, which could be higher because our government's $22 trillion in debt. And then when you pass the money on to your children or a non-spouse, it goes to them fully taxable. So if you passed on $500,000 and you had 2 kids, each kid gets $250,000, but that's ordinary income, so they got to pay, it's going to put them in the higher bracket, and the government's going to get a big chunk of your money. So here's the alternative that works much like a Roth. You put an after-tax dollar, already been taxed through your paycheck, let's say, into this plan. 2, it grows tax deferred. 3, you take the money out, your check's tax free. And 4, when you pass it on, it's also income tax free. So huge, huge, huge advantages. One of my favorite books is by a guy I know named David McKnight, The Power of Zero. What if it's real? What if there is a way to get a zero tax bracket? In the book, David says, and this is according to Congress, that if they don't change Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid, if you're in a 10% bracket, Congress is saying it's probably going to go to 25. And if you're at 25, you're probably going to 63. That's middle America, by the way. So think about this. You're taking $100,000 out of your 401k, and today you'd pay about $25,000 of income tax. But if it goes up like the government says it might, you take out the same $100,000, you're paying $63,000 in income tax. Doesn't make any sense, right? And if you look below, you can see that the tax rates have been way high in the past when we didn't have as much debt as we have today. So I want to introduce you now to the concept of indexing. Most people know who Warren Buffett is, and Warren's got 2 rules when it comes to building wealth. Number 1, never lose money. And number 2, don't forget rule number 1. And with indexing, we follow that philosophy. So let's take a look at the red line. This is where most people have their retirement dollars. This is the S&P. And as we can see, sometimes it goes down. 2002 it went down. That was called the dot-com bust. Then it went up, and then we had the mortgage meltdown. Then it went up, and then last year it went down a little bit. But that 100,000 original dollars that went in is worth about 18 years later, 170,000. But understand this, it's not all your money. Because every year you're going to pay a fee, and those fees go from lowest I've ever seen, 1.5 to about 3. And if you're paying a 3% fee, and that's the average, by the way, a 3% fee on, let's say, an average balance of 100,000 for 18 years, you're paying $50-something thousand in fees. So you got to deduct that from the 170,000. So let's take a look at the blue line. This is called indexing. Your money's not in the market. The insurance company takes it, puts it in bonds. Bonds create interest. We take the interest and buy a call option. And when the market goes down, you lost your call option, but you didn't lose your principal. So on the blue line, when the market goes down, everything's level. But when the market goes up, we get all of the gain with a cap, and different products have different caps. Today they go from about 10.5 to as high as 14.5 in my favorite product. But look at over the last 18 years. 360,000 minus the fees versus 170,000 minus the fees. So that's 111% more money on the blue line, but your money was never at risk. Kind of a big deal. More money without the risk. It's revolutionary, and the fees are lower than a traditional 401k. So if we go back and take a look at some numbers, the S&P over 10 years did pretty well, 11.35. 20 years, not so well, 4%. If you paid 3% fees over the last 20 years, 4 minus 3 is 1. You didn't do too good. But if you apply indexing over the last 10 years, we're at 9.32. 20 years, we beat it by 3.65% with less fees, by the way, which is a game changer. That's an income doubler. And I'm proud to tell you that one of our carriers has something called the Barclays Sector 5 that has averaged over 13%. And this year already is up over 19%. So we've got some incredible, imagine that, without the risk. So let's go through a couple client examples and we'll be done. Client example number 1, 35-year-old spends $400 a month in case he what? In case he lives a long time, which he probably will, in case he gets sick, or in case he dies too soon. So this is not just death insurance. In case you live a long time, that's what most people are going to use. So $400 a month, $4,800 a year. He's going to do this from age 35 to 70. He's going to put $163,000 in. So what do you get for $400 a month? So here's what you get. Here's your benefits. Starting today, the day you own your policy and it's issued, your death benefit's $404,000 now. Living benefits, day one, up to $372,000, depending on how severe your sickness is. But at age 70 now, which is going to happen to most, you can start taking out of your policy based on all the current projections, which are, by the way, quite conservative, $59,000 a year tax-free. Think about this. How much money do you have to make to net after taxes? $59,000. That's tax-free for 20, 30 years, depending on how we design your policy. So in this case, by the age of 89, this client took out 1.1, almost 1.2 million. So if you put 163,000 in and you take out about 1.2 million tax-free, did it work? See, here's the good news. There's nothing out there that works better than this. And then at age 89, your death benefit's still 115,000. So let's think about that. 163,000 goes in, you take out just shy of 1.2 million, and now you pass away, and your family's going to get 115,000 income tax-free in this example. Incredible. And also I want you to know this. This is what I've done for my family for the last 10 years. I wish it came out sooner, but I've been doing this for 10 years, and I'm so glad I did, because die, tax-free, get sick, tax-free check, live a long time, which is what I want to do, tax-free check for the rest of my life. Okay, now let's take a look at client number 2. Client number 2 is 65, 70, somewhere in there. They've been saving all their life. They've got $500,000 in the 401k. It's their nest egg, and it took 30 years to get it. They woke up at 5 in the morning, drove an hour and back. So I want you to ask yourself, should you put that money at risk at that age? So what I want to talk to you about is an indexed annuity where we can take that $500,000 and move it into what we call a new financial paradigm shift. It's called a rollover. It's a non-taxable event. And some annuities have bonuses. My favorite annuity has a 5% bonus. And all of a sudden you move that money, no taxable event, and that 5 could become, depending on the annuity that you choose, could become $525,000. Next, in the 401k you're paying fees. In every book I've read, they say the average is about 3%. So 3% on $500,000 is you're paying $15,000 in fees. Know it or not, like it or not, that's what's going on. move the money into an annuity depending on the annuity that you choose. Your fees are anywhere from 0 to 1, and maybe there's something out there higher and your agent needs to disclose that, but I like the ones with 0 fees. And in that case, you save $15,000 in fees a year. You know, $15,000 a year in retirement's a pretty big deal. But here's another one. If your money's at risk and the market crashes, you're in trouble. Well, see, my advice is in retirement years, get rid of the risk. Risk, no risk. Also, with the annuities, we have a guaranteed income option. You can have an income for as long as you live. Let's say you live to age 100 and you run out of money at age 95. Guaranteed income for as long as you live, even if you run out in your annuity. In a traditional 401k, there is no guaranteed income. So this is big stuff that we're talking about here. And everybody, it's our job to help educate you as a client. So I just want to show you a couple of my favorite books. The New Rules of Retirement Savings, probably my favorite. Read it. Get it somehow and read it. The Retirement Miracle explains, because it's easy to look at indexing and say too good to be true. Power of zero, I told you a little bit about that. The power of a zero tax bracket. So my challenge to you is to get yourself educated. It's your money. You got a choice. You can do things the old way. You can have life insurance, you got to die to get the money. Or you can have the new kind where you can be your own beneficiary with living benefits and retirement income. So the next step that I highly recommend is to sit down with a qualified licensed agents, do a needs analysis so that we can know your personal situation, and analyze your needs and see what products work for you. So thanks so much. I hope this helped you. I'm very, very excited to be part of FEG. I'm excited to bring living benefits to America. We're making a difference. Thanks. Bye-bye.